They are a gift from the sea. The colored shells in the hands of a craftsman are transformed into works of art that are impressive for their beauty and in some cases their scale. But why is it that the city of BEIHAI has become so closely associated with this ancient art? Please watch BEIHAI shell carving, part of our unique handicraft series. The Guangxi Museum of Nationalities houses a large shell carving. It's called Plum Blossom Heralding the Start of Spring, the Return of Hong Kong. It was made to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Hong Kong's return to China. The shell carving was based on an ink work by a master of Chinese traditional painting, Guan Shanyue. The carving makes clever use of the natural colors and textures of the shells and various carving techniques. The whole piece, formed on more than 20 types of rare shells and weighing almost 900 kilograms, took 3 master craftsmen 2 months to complete. The exquisite craftsmanship, attention to detail, and grand scale of the piece are testament to the long history and skill of the shell carvers of the city of BEIHAI.
北海贝雕呢，一个方面它的历史很悠久，如果从贝壳的使用啊各方面来讲的话，那么有这个上千年的历史。贝雕这个技艺来讲的话，它也有几百年的历史。那这样一个历史悠久的一个手工艺品，那我们是要收藏。第二个方面来讲的话，北海的贝雕呢，它的技术上也是非常的精湛。
How are these exquisite shell carvings made? How did the skill develop in BEIHAI? And what is it about the shell carvings from BEIHAI that makes them so popular? BEIHAI City is located at the southern tip of Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region and is surrounded by sea on 3 sides. The area is blessed with year-round sunshine and abundant rainfall. With its easy access to a wealth of marine resources, the city produces a wide range of shell products. Shell carvings made from shells from the northern Gulf of the South China Sea have long been a traditional ethnic handicraft associated with BEIHAI.
这都是我们白海贝雕。
真漂亮。这个也是用贝壳做的吗？
是啊，这个是我们最近新出的作品。是白海贝雕记的。
那这个的制作工艺是不是特别的复杂呀？
是很复杂，这个2个师傅花了1000多个工时做成的。这个是有5000多小部件做出来的，还有这个颜色都是属于天然颜色。没有经过人工修饰过的。漂亮吧？
这个真的是贝壳做的。是
啊，你看，
从来没见过。
多少个颜色？点一下。
我点不出来，太多了。这个真好看，这个。
有点像眼睛一样哈，龙的眼睛。
The unique and complex process of making BEIHAI shell carvings has been passed down orally for centuries, from master to apprentice. It all begins with drawing up a design and selecting the right materials. And then it moves on to carving. Next is polishing and mounting the shells. The whole process can take up to several months to complete.
第一个步骤就是设计图纸。我们这个门神呢，就是因为已经有很多传统的年画门神，所以我们就直接从邓登伟广西门神传承人邓登伟那里拿了一幅日月门神，直接就从那个原稿里面处理成黑白，就线描明显的作为生产图纸就可以直接采用了。
Dong Dunwei is a BEIHAI artist who specializes in drawing characters from legend. Most of the door gods that adorn the entrances of homes in BEIHAI were drawn by him. His door gods are popular because of their exquisite shapes, lines, and colors. The design of a BEIHAI shell carving is drawn on paper. This drawing of sun and moon door gods is by Dong Dunwei himself.
门神的贝壳，古代来说也是一个宝贝，也是镇宅辟邪的宝物，所以用它来做门神呢。门神也是个守护门的，所以它材料上已经占到一个优势，还有这个天然的光泽，做这个门神也是很到位的。
The second and most important stage in shell carving is selecting the shells. Without quality materials, even the best craftsmen will struggle to produce a fine finished product. The shells come from common mollusks. There are more than 200,000 known species of creatures with shells around the world. The vast ocean has given them their unique shapes and bright colors. There are more than 20 species of mollusks whose shells are suitable for carving, consisting of more than a dozen colors. Differences in the colors and thickness of the shells make it possible to represent the different textures of the subject matter. They are a gift from the sea. The colored shells in the hands of a craftsman are transformed into works of art that are impressive for their beauty and in some cases their scale. But why is it that the city of BEIHAI has become so closely associated with this ancient art. Please watch BEIHAI shell carving, part of our unique handicraft series. BEIHAI lies in the subtropical zone, where the sunny and pleasant climate is suitable for marine organisms to flourish. The area is home to a rich variety of shellfish, and beautiful colored shells litter the beaches. At BEIHAI Seafood Market, various shapes and sizes of shellfish are for sale, but few of the shells are suitable for carving. The shell for making the head of a door god comes from the largest species of pearl oyster in the world, called the white-lipped oyster. A white-lipped oyster can grow up to 25 centimeters in length and weigh 3 kilograms. This type of pearl oyster is mainly found off the Leizhou Peninsula in the South China Sea. White-lipped oysters live at a depth of 30 meters and have a thick, shiny, silvery white nacreous layer, which is very valuable when processed.
This is our养殖的这白蝶贝。
哦，是这个哈。
对啊，咱们打开看一看。很薄。
A shell's color, thickness, and luster are all factors to be taken into account when selecting the right ones. The luster of the shell is particularly important. Among the hundreds of thousands of shells in the ocean, why are some shiny while others are not?
这个呢，主要是贝种不同，这种是珍珠贝，所以它里面这个是珍珠层，它自然有这个珍珠光泽。其他的贝呢就没有这个珍珠层，所以它就没有这种光泽。
哦，我刚才看了很多都是这种珍珠贝啊，但是它有的就有光泽，有的呢光泽就不是像这么好，这是为什么呢？
这个一般的话可以这样，有些呢可能它是一捕捞上来，这贝已经是死贝了，它那壳呢在经过海水浸泡一段时间，它就是表面就氧化呀。它就没有这种光泽了。但是呢，这贝呢，要捕上来是活的话，直接剖开，去掉这个贝肉，留下这壳呢，它的光泽就是非常好的。
Other than white-lipped oysters, BEIHAI carvers use other rare shells, including those of black-lipped oysters and yellow-mouthed buccinum. Craftsmen select the shells based on their suitability for the form and specifications of the end product. The colors in the shell carvings from BEIHAI are all natural, which makes it essential to select the right materials. Having chosen the materials, the craftsman will start carving. This is the most difficult stage in the process. The head of the door god must be made from a single shell, with the craftsman carving the complex design on it. The two door gods are very different. One has a white face and the other has a black face. One has a good-natured and gentle appearance, while the other has an aggressive bearing. Making the outlines of the facial features accurate and clear requires superb skill and many years of training.
因为头部的五官要求比较传神，这个门神嘛，他要守门，他必须要凶，才能镇住这些神鬼，所以他要比较传神，要把那个门神的形态要充分的表现出来。这个没有什么绝招，只能是扎扎实实的做。这个工艺来不得半点虚假，必须精雕细琢。
Xu Changbin is a 5th-generation BEIHAI shell carver and has been making shell carvings for more than 20 years. Throughout his career, he has concentrated on integrating classical and modern techniques. Xu Changbin believes every shell has its own characteristics in terms of its size, color, shape, texture, and luster, and every one has the potential to become a work of art. As a craftsman whose work involves carving day after day, he must be patient and pay attention to every detail. The next step involves polishing the cut and carved shells. This is the most time-consuming part of the entire process. For the beard of one of the door gods, for example, the craftsman selects the shell with a suitable curvature and then cuts it to the right size before polishing it on an emery wheel. Shells are primarily formed of calcium carbonate, which is brittle. It's easy for a careless or untrained craftsman to injure himself at the polishing stage, and it takes apprentices at least 2 years to master it.
手指很容易磨伤，因为这个须它是很细，而且它这个须因为它是黑色，还要选这个黑点贝，选到最黑那一部分来磨，所以也不容易成功。它是贝壳是硬的，但是要把这个胡子的弹性、它的柔软、它那种张力要磨出来，是要很细心，而且不容易磨得成功。这个工人老师傅们磨的手指都经常磨到一边去。
In the polishing, the craftsman must focus on the texture, colors, and contours of the shell. It often takes repeated attempts to achieve the desired shape. 5,000 parts make up the door gods, and each one needs to be individually polished. An experienced craftsman can accurately select shells of a suitable thickness, luster, and color for polishing based purely on the drawing. This not only saves on materials, but also speeds up the process. However, it can take more than 10 years to acquire the necessary expertise. A shell can be polished until it is as thin as an onion skin, as small as a grain of rice, as fine as a strand of hair, or as bright as a pearl. This illustrates the fine craftsmanship that goes into the shell carvings. After being carved and polished, the tiny, bright shells are assembled. They are a gift from the sea. The colored shells in the hands of a craftsman are transformed into works of art that are impressive for their beauty and, in some cases, their scale. But why is it that the city of BEIHAI has become so closely associated with this ancient art? Please watch BEIHAI Shell Carving, part of our unique handicraft series. The next stage involves sticking together the shells that have been carved and polished so that the materials and colors are matched according to the original design. The craftsman will then select a decorative frame or base that suits the style of the piece. The combination of the natural beauty of the shells, the traditional carving techniques of the craftsmen, and Chinese artistic style draws together the beauty of the ocean and human wisdom. Shell carvings have recorded mankind's interaction with the sea since ancient times. Shell carving in Beihai can be traced all the way back to the Han Dynasty, over 2,000 years ago. Hepu Han Tomb Museum lies 20 kilometers outside Beihai. Hepu is famous as the home of the South Sea Pearl. Since the 1970s, archaeologists have uncovered more than 400 Han Dynasty tombs containing tens of thousands of cultural relics. This clay lantern is 30 centimeters tall. It's round with a flat bottom and sits on a lampstand in the shape of a squatting horse. The horse's head is large and the mouth is slightly open, giving it a charmingly naive appearance. On the horse's head is a distinctive, intricate shell-shaped hat. This is the oldest piece ever found in the Beihai area that incorporates shells into the design. Beihai shell carving techniques matured during the Ming and Qing dynasties. The town of Lianzhou in Hepu County was the local administrative headquarters during the Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, and Qing dynasties, which meant many people of great power and wealth would have lived here. Most of the furniture in wealthy people's homes, such as the tables, chairs, wardrobes, and screens, were made from rosewood. The furniture was often decorated with inlaid flowers, birds, and characters made from pearls and shells. These exquisite images of natural beauty became a unique characteristic of furniture in the Ming and Qing dynasties. Prior to the founding of New China, Beihai shell carving was mainly centered on family workshops. After the founding of New China, the government encouraged shell carving craftsmen to form cooperatives. In 1964, the Beihai City Arts and Crafts Factory was established, and local artisans were hired to mass-produce shell-based handicrafts. Using the colors, shapes, and features of each shell, the shell carving artists created flat, semi-relief, mosaic, and three-dimensional works of art, usually in the form of flowers, birds, landscapes, and people. By the early 1980s, more than 100 craftsmen were working full-time at the factory, making shell carvings. The products were not just sold across China. Large quantities also made their way overseas. In the late 90s, the Beihai City Arts and Crafts Factory underwent a major restructuring and mass production was abandoned. Still, many people continued to pass on Beihai's shell carving heritage. In the 21st century, as people's living standards have improved and incomes have risen, their interest in protecting the environment has grown, and ecological handicrafts have enjoyed renewed popularity. Beihai shell carvers have begun to integrate the techniques of ivory carving, jade carving, and wood carving into their work. They have also begun to incorporate elements of Chinese traditional culture, Chinese painting, and Western art into their design concepts. The idea is to broaden their product's appeal. Following shell carving's addition to the list of the intangible cultural heritage of Beihai City and Guangxi Zhuan Autonomous Region in 2007 and 2010, more and more people have developed an interest in this precious traditional folk art. Beihai has established a shell and carving development and research center to give more people the opportunity to go and see and learn about this traditional skill. This is a place where the culture and beauty of shell carving can be passed on to the next generation.
那我们现在看到的就是我们广西北海的贝雕了。看到这些颜色呢，都是海螺和贝壳天然的色泽。广西的这些贝雕工艺品。
Shell carvings, combining elements of ancient and modern culture, are much more than just museum exhibits. They have become popular decorations in homes, as well as collector's items. Shell carvings, therefore, recall China's long history and the heritage of an ancient civilization, and they are things of beauty to brighten people's lives. An inch of ke is worth an inch of gold. So goes an old saying. For centuries, the finest robes worn by China's emperors were made from ke woven silk. But what were the skills that went into ke weaving? And could a family of modern craftsmen reproduce an original imperial robe? Find out in ke silk tapestry, part of our unique handicraft series.